Okay. Pigeons.
Penguins.
Oh. Why did I say pigeons? I'm so tired. It's a joke.
Pigeons,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Are we
cool.
just tired every time we do this?
Yes, I think we pick the greatest days to do
Shout out
podcasts.
to the pigeons, my
yeah,
team.
the Pittsburgh
Pigeons.
Pigeons.
To be fair, I would
Right.
100% support those guys if they were a team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Penguins are still quite cute animals. So, right.
You're saying pigeons are cute?
No, penguins.
All right.
I'm so confused.
I like pigeons too. I think they're chill.
You like
especially the fat
pigeons?
ones.
Who likes pigeons?
The ones that just waddle.
You mean like
You know?
wood pigeons?
Yeah.
Like the ones that are in
Oh,
the
yeah.
countryside.
Yeah.
Not like city pigeons.
I mean-
that are like rats with wings.
Yeah. Wow. Rats with wings.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
They are.
I mean, they carry about 500 diseases. I'll give you that. But no, I just think some of them that are a bit fat, a bit waddle around, a bit banter.
What about
you
the
know?
ones that have like
Well,
lost limbs and are a bit like they
You just
look
kind of
like
run
they've
after
seen,
them, and you're like,
they've seen things,
Yeah.
you know those ones that are like hobbling around. They've got like they look like they should have a cane under one wing, and
Yeah.
they're like they beat up the smaller pigeons for like seeds.
Are you a pigeon watcher? Is that it? Okay. I don't like pigeons that much.
Got into like a trash can and found some like needles and shit. and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
gone-
Some
Big
pigeons
brother
are like
for pigeons.
nasty.
Let's sort that
Yeah.
out.
Well, that's the banter done.
Yep. Tick. Okay, now introduce everyone. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the WTF1 podcast. Welcome to Jess's new hairstyle. I think that's the first thing to say. It's a different colour. So
Jesus.
So
just
your
a
3-word review.
just welcome to Jess's hairstyle.
No, Jess's new hairstyle.
Yeah. Jess, new hair, new you.
Yeah, I just want it to be ginger.
Is this a transitional phase or is this the end colour?
No. This is probably I don't know. I just literally
Who
got
knows?
bored and decided to dye my hair. So
Tommy's next week.
Yep.
Japanese Grand Prix. What are you going to do? Just white with a red.
that would
Dot-
be.
Get it in the comments. We'll find out.
Okay, top comment gets Tommy's new
If this
hairstyle.
podcast gets X amount of likes on YouTube,
Yeah, there you go. How many likes?
Yeah.
How many likes?
How many likes?
Do a
No.
Japanese flag
how
as your
many how many likes would it take for you to do that?
Absolutely, just. I'm
Come on,
not
give a
dyeing my
number.
hair a stupid colour.
Even
No.
even if it was like wash out dye, even if it was wash out dye.
Just for the podcast. We dye it for the podcast and then we get it rid of it.
Please.
We have a
A
shower in the
million.
office.
You need 1 million likes. No, come on, let's do something like realistic.
All right, 267,000. So every subscriber has to like
Yeah,
this
there you go.
video.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Every
Perfect.
subscriber.
Cool. And my hair's naturally going white, so that's fine. I'll be there in probably 3 weeks. Okay, moving on. So I'm Matt. Yeah, you're Tommy. You're Jess. We know that by now. Jess, moving to you to a shout out to a fan.
Yes, just want to give Ashlyn from
Holla.
Alabama is one of our fans. I know you watch the podcast with your dad every time we release one, and we just wanted to say thank you so much for watching from Alabama.
Sup?
And hopefully we help you be F1 fans. So nice one.
Hope
Thanks
you
for
be
watching.
F1 fans.
We-
That
yeah.
should be our tagline.
We help you be F1 fans.
I don't know if we do, because sometimes we talk a lot of.
We
like-
we are negative 97% of the
No,
time.
I don't think we're negative
93.
90.
I mean, we've spent the first 5 minutes talking
High
about
90s.
pigeons, hair colour.
Are you fans of F1 now? Cool. Okay, so let's dive into the race, the Russian Grand Prix, that thing, not pigeons. I'll start with my race review because there's some heat, there's some boxing gloves I'm hoping somewhere. Because my 3-word race review was Mercedes were wrong, and we have Jess is there with looking at me. We have some fans coming as well. At Dane Doing Stuff, Bottas got robbed. Ray Hanzerega _ screw team orders. Acro.Vince, Mercedes please stop. Castro44, team orders suck. And Bruno, I'm about to say Bruno Saliva, that's not it. Bruno As Silva, Mercedes dirty tactics. Yes, Mercedes were wrong. I was sat there. I'm not saying that I don't understand why they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand that. I said that on IBR as well, Internet Special Reactions, that, Mercedes, I understand why they did it. It was completely logical, but I still think it's wrong for the sport. It's bad for the sport. It's bad for fans that are just watching. And there's many other implications, such as the betting and stuff that come in, but that's not really what I care about so much. It's more just the spectacle. So I was, quite upset to see, with how the championship is at the moment, that Mercedes would, put a team order in such as that to kind of really stamp Bottas right into the ground. He hasn't won this year, and considering his luck, he should have potentially been still in the championship fight. He wasn't then. And then, oh god, that team radio right at the end where he's like, so guys, you thinking about maybe, changing? No?
Yeah,
No?
I think the worst thing about it was the fact that Bottas genuinely thought he was going to get the place back. And I think
Considering
that
it was how they kind of messaged him. It was
Yeah.
like, he's under threat.
for me, I'm the same as you. I agree that I understand why they did it, but I didn't like how they did it. And I think they should have just been flat out. I didn't like the fact that they lied, because I feel like they definitely lied saying Hamilton's tyres are blistering. I think that was just a load of rubbish.
Three track
And
records.
that's kind of
Lewis,
why.
Lewis did come on the radio and say, I've got blistering. And you could see by the end there was a big blister, although you also saw Vettel kicking
his
the
car.
car
That was
to try
amazing.
and find the blistering that had appeared.
I love
But
how that's allowed. You can just kick Formula 1 cars,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah. Sure.
But I think they should have told him they should have had the conversation before the Russian Grand Prix, realistically, or even halfway through the season when Bottas is at him and say, look, you're a number 2 driver now, you're not, you know.
You
He
are
needs
now
to know, because
our
he
slave.
clearly thought he was getting that place back.
I think the situation changed mid-race, because my 3-word race review is Mercedes were right. So I agree with you guys in that I don't like the way they went about it, but ultimately it was the only choice that they had to tie up this season and to absolutely guarantee pretty much that both they get the drivers home in 1 and 2 and Lewis gets the World Drivers' Championship. So it wasn't a nice thing to happen, but ultimately team orders are a part of F1 and you can't complain about it. I mean, you can say that it's a crap thing in F1, and we've spoken about other rules and regulations that we're not happy with, but ultimately it's down to the FIA and FOM to decide whether that ruins the spectacle of F1. It's not really down to us. So we can't start complaining about a tactic that teams can use if it's in the rule book, because
Yeah, it's perfectly legal.
it's perfectly legal,
Yeah.
and it did guarantee that they got a 1-2. Now, obviously, there's the whole, but did Hamilton really have blistering? Could they still have come home in a 1-2? If they hadn't have put Lewis first, then, the season might be a little bit more alive than it is now, because, a 50-point lead with 5 races to go is like...
It's over, really.
It's pretty much over.
Well, we said that about the Rosberg and Hamilton, and then Hamilton blew up at Malaysia, so you
True,
never know.
true, that is true.
I guess that's going in Mercedes' thoughts as well. If they could, it could happen. Hamilton himself lost a 17-point lead with 2 races to go
And that
Kimi.
was when it was 10
Yeah.
points for a win as
And
well.
it was 10 points for a win. It can happen if Hamilton, breaks his leg on a jet ski with 2 races to go, and the
Highly
gap was
likely.
47 points instead of 50.
It's a very good point.
They've got a 2 DNF race buffer now, so Hamilton can blow up his engine and not finish for 2 races, and he can still win the championship. Which, if you're a purist, or if you want to see the season go down to Abu Dhabi, which I think we all do. I think every F1 fan wants to see it decided on the last race of the season. But when you're looking at it from the team's perspective, and F1 is a team sport, it's how quickly can we wrap this up? Like how can we guarantee that this is in the bag? And we saw that they'd already cocked up Hamilton's race strategy by not bringing him in when Vettel came into pit, which meant that he was at a massive setback. And obviously Vettel got him. The move on Vettel was very, very good.
It's pretty decent.
it's
Yeah.
good.
But in their minds, when they're playing out strategies, they're thinking, "Crap, Lewis could come home 4th at this rate."
Do you think
if
they
we
could
don't
have
let
done
him
it
through.
better?
Yes.
Do you think there's a way they could have done it
Well, you-
better? Because
Yeah.
I think the thing that got people so butthurt is the fact that Bottas was in the position and he pulls over to the side of the track and pretty much stops, and he makes it so obvious, and that's what people hated about the Massa Alonso one. That you've seen it in the past where people have swapped in the pits, or look at Kimi, they kind of disguise the fact that they're...
ruin
Vettel
every
is
race.
faster than you.
Yeah.
Wink.
that kind
Or
of
just
thing.
leave him out for 40 laps on super soft
Yeah,
tyres
exactly.
and
So
just forget about
they
it.
do it a bit more subtly. So maybe they could have done it, but I guess they were in an awkward position.
You could hear even when Toto came on the radio at the end of the race and was like, well, obviously we'll speak after. He stumbled over his words. He clearly hadn't quite figured out in his head what he could say. And you saw when cameras panned to him in the garage, he looked really anguished. He looked like you just asked whether he wanted to save his mum or his or somebody else, you know?
Great
don't
comparison.
say that. Or the biggest horrible decision of his life. Gun to head, who are you gonna save? And I just think they didn't handle it very well. But I think Toto came out saying what do I opt for? Be the baddie on Sunday or the idiot in Abu Dhabi if it gets taken away from them? So you can definitely see why they did it, and it's just a case of, should it be legal? Should it be made illegal, team orders, or should we just stop complaining? F1's not a purist sport. As much as everybody wants it to be, it's not.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. You can get emotional and romantic about it, but ultimately it's a bunch of teams that want to win, and they've got a whole bunch of things that they can use to get there, and team orders are one of them.
I think in terms of how they dealt with it, obviously they'd said turn 13, which was a very strange place to let Hamilton through anyway, in my opinion. I thought he'd just let off the throttle down turn 1 and 2. But I think it was more that Bottas could have easily disguised it more, but he was probably raging in that cockpit. 100%. So he stamped on the brakes and was like, "Look."
Was about half a second behind him at one point, and if they'd have just turned Bottas's engine down, turned Hamilton's up to massive, he would have breezed past him on the straight, and you'd have gone, okay, they've probably done it.
Yeah, but it wasn't so obvious, and then Bottas was raging so much that he did that he put himself under pressure from Vettel because he'd done it almost too much, and then Vettel was 6/10 behind him. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird that you'd think such a corporation as Mercedes wouldn't have had that conversation with Bottas when re-signing him.
I can't believe they haven't had that conversation.
It's almost like they've sold him a false dream of if you're winning, fair play, or
But I mean, how many times have we said about how Mercedes are hiding the fact that it's pretty obvious to them that he's the number 2 driver? They called him a wingman, and then were like, oh, but we don't mean your number 2 driver. We don't mean it like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, how much more do you want to hide it? You can't hide it now. That was the defining moment where they said you're a number 2 driver, and I think only having a year contract for me as well indicates that they are keeping their options open.
Oh yeah, he's not going to last that long, is he?
It makes me think as well that
just be real. Just say it how it is. I think that's what people want. I think that's why they get angry with Ferrari team orders when it is a bit like Vettel is faster than you, because we all know what it means. Get out the way.
Yeah.
Vettel needs to win.
How weird that Ferrari are the team this year that are not doing it. They didn't do team orders in Austria when they had the chance to swap Vettel and Kimi. They've had the moment in Monza. They had the moment in Germany where Kimi was ahead and he was like, "What do you want me to do?" And apparently he'd screwed Vettel's tyres. Ferrari are the ones that are like, "Oh, I don't know. Should we? Shouldn't we?" And then Mercedes,
they're like, "Oh, let's do it for the fans."
Yeah, and then Mercedes are the ones that are like, the second Hamilton was behind Bottas, it was 2 laps, and they were on the radio saying, "Move." I
love how they got that picture as well of Toto actually pressing tactics, and you're like, "Uh-oh, game over." Yeah. Actually, something I wrote down before we came here was an interesting moment last year at Hungary when Bottas and Hamilton had swapped positions, and then Hamilton let Bottas back through in a stage of the championship where nothing was wrapped up. I don't know what the points gap actually became, but it wasn't anywhere near 40 points. So it's weird
I think
that
Vettel might have been ahead at that point.
I know it was at least very close. So it's weird that Hamilton almost accepted it this time and was like, "Yeah, I'll take the win. I'm nearly there." I don't know whether his mindset was completely different in 2017, but for me, I find it a very weird comparison when one was a lot more extreme than the other in the sense that Hamilton needed every point he possibly could get.
I mean, you did see though, for me, the podium was really awkward when he was trying to give Bottas the first place trophy and stuff, and I was like,
that was what. Trying. So Ferrari got fined for that because of what happened in 2002. It wasn't the fact that they'd done team orders; it was that they'd messed up the podium ceremony and made a mockery of it.
I was watching that today.
I think Schumacher pushed Barrichello onto the podium. They gave him the first place trophy, and they got in massive trouble for it, and it was super awkward.
Well, because like Barrichello was standing on the top step while the German national anthem was playing.
Yeah, it was weird.
And it was just like, I even think like the band started like not playing the anthem properly because everyone was just really confused about what was happening. And it just, for me, it's like, yeah, okay, I understand that whether it's genuine or not, that you're trying to make out that you care about the fact that you didn't win on merit. It just smacks of like,
I don't buy it.
Don't like it. I mean, whether you buy it or not, I don't. Yeah. I mean, he's been very like, he was very subdued, and I mean, I guess it's semi-respectful, but also like to keep pushing it is a bit.
Yeah, I didn't like that, and it's disappointing as well because it fuels, not that this is my personal opinion, but it fuels people that are going to shut down Hamilton for everything he does. It's almost, some people will use it as a way to taint this championship if he wins it. Well, and even though it's been one example, I guess you could argue Italy as well, they use Bottas, but it's one example of team orders. Now people will just assume that he's in that Schumacher-Barrichello thing for the entire year, which isn't true, and people are going, oh yeah, 2018, wasn't that the year that like Hamilton won the title and Bottas let him through? And
yeah, but ultimately, I know Ali jokes with Matthew about how many titles Schumacher should have won or did win fairly.
Don't you look at me.
Everyone's going to get so triggered with you now, by the way, Ali. Who cares? Because most people just remember Schumacher as being the greatest driver of all time. So yes,
they do, Ali.
Yes, okay, like we're gonna be we or people that have been watching this season might be, oh my god, but don't you remember in 2018 when they did team orders and he won, it's all down to that. Well, it's not. It's bullshit.
And people will forget,
And people will forget. And he'll still be a 5-time world champion, and that is what the history books will remember.
And he'll match Fangio, who had teammates literally jump out of their car and let him
That's what I mean. It's part of F1.
Yeah.
It's always been a part of F1. Yeah. So unless the FIA decide that it's not allowed, then it's just part of the game. I agree. I think take it out, but then you'll have
take out team orders.
Yeah.
No, they can't. They banned it before, and it didn't work.
And it didn't work because they just found like code words.
Alonso,
multi 21.
What is it? Fernando is faster than you. That was the code word. It was like the same as. Do you remember when they banned team radio messages?
Yeah.
And it got to the point where they were like, Nico driving around, and they're like, we can't tell you, or we can. We'll say random code to you.
Yeah.
I hope you understand. It was stupid. Yeah. It just makes a mockery of it, really.
But I guess it's just always going to happen, isn't it? But
interesting. So moving on, as you have for team sort of orders and stuff. At Lily Laser 666, F1 is getting official betting partners soon. With that in mind, will team orders be considered race fixing, and will they need to be banned to prevent claims and maybe even criminal investigations by the various sporting gambling commissions? Yeah, it's going to be a weird one, that, isn't it? I mean, obviously it happens in other sports as well. You can say like boxing and that sort of stuff. It does happen, but this, when Mercedes can literally go, right, you two swap, there could be all kinds of fraud going on.
It opens it up to like finger pointing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, so regardless of whether or not it happens or not, like everybody's going to be like, well, what if that was because they've just been paid £100 million or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
It's just I think how can you have it in a sport that has gambling?
I know. Imagine like there's all these things like, oh, this team needs £100 million, stick £1 million on.
I don't think
this driver is going to crash at turn 3 on lap 52, and his left tyre will go on to.
I don't think it'll be that. But it won't be that much of a fast because obviously there'll be lots of parameters put in place to stop that from happening. But I think just in general, I think I saw I can't remember who it was from on social media was saying about how F1 doesn't support drinking or anything like that, but they'll happily back betting, which is still another form of addiction. I think it was Kate Hewitt actually on Twitter, so shout out Kate. But so like it was that kind of thing, when you're like, well, that's still an addiction, and obviously it's drink driving is obviously combined with the sport, but it doesn't really give the sport any more sort of kind of integrity, and I don't know, it feels a bit off for me personally, but I guess maybe
it's a bit of a controversial, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit of controversial. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Shall we get on to something a bit more, I was going to say a bit more away from team orders. Still talking about team orders, but more about the Force India stuff as well.
Well, no one cared about them, did they? That
No.
wasn't,
Well, obviously that was fine because they're not
not-
battling for the world championship.
Yeah.
if it's over 5th and 6th, which happens every race,
Yeah.
all the time, you don't notice it. It's the fact that it was for a win, and
Yeah.
that's what. If you think of every time it's happened, I know Dan, our writer, did a listicle about it, and it happened, obviously yesterday. It happened in 2010 for Hockenheim. It happened in 2002, and they're the times that people have been so angry and triggered by
Because
it.
it's been for the win.
Because it's been for the win.
But I guess like with the Checo and Esteban situation, it was because the argument was that Ocon was slowing Perez down and ruining his race. So he was given the opportunity to then, all right then, if you think you can go faster, go faster.
And
And
then couldn't.
guess what? He couldn't. So
They
they
are-
let him back through.
They are so evenly matched, those two.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It's
Perez
crazy.
and
Isn't
Ocon.
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're identical. I think they're on identical points in the championship. They're always trying to occupy the same bit of racetrack, and of course, how many times has this happened where they're on track together and one of them's like, "Oh, let me through. I'll be able to get him,"
And they can't.
and they can't. Yeah,
And yet one of them's going to
And
be
it's
on the
worked
grid and
both
the other
ways.
isn't.
Yeah.
That
Justice.
hurts my brain. That does. Are we done? Do you think on team orders? Do you think that's covered it sufficiently?
I guess like let's just put a full stop at the end of it. Should team orders be allowed in F1?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes, because it can't be policed.
Yeah, I think yes. It's more
We-
like yes, but I don't want it to
No.
exist, but it will exist, and so
So we should all just
you may
stop.
as well allow everyone to have it than, oh yeah, multi 21 and multi 42 and all that rubbish. Okay, Tommy, your man, your boy.
Yes,
Verstappen?
shock. My 3-word race view is about Verstappen.
Oh, well, Max. Carry on.
So mine is Verstappen is back. Just the fact that he's
Where did he go?
turned all
Yeah.
his. Well, he had a
Stop being
terrible start to the
rubbish.
year, and now he's like, he is on it. He's
What, 'cause
probably
he passed some slower cars, or no, he was fantastic. wasn't he?
His drive was absolutely ridiculous, and a bit like Singapore, the perfect level of speed and maturity. The amount of times he could have, if you watch his first lap, the amount of times he could have ploughed into the back of another car, but he waits for certain corners, and then arguably just as impressive as his drive through the field, which was, what was it, 19th to 5th in about
5 laps.
5, 6, 7 laps.
Yeah.
Almost more impressive was the fact that he managed to be on race leader's pace on old tyres,
yeah.
setting fastest lap, and it's a shame he had to pit really, because it would have been interesting just to
spicy
see
if there'd
him
been
go
a
for the
safety
end.
car.
Yeah.
Or...
I think my favourite moment was when Hulkenberg came on the radio and
that was brilliant.
he went, the Red Bull is in the lead? How did that happen?
Yeah.
And I think that summed it up really.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody, he'd said from quali that his aim was 5th and he thought that he could get there, but the fact that he did it in 5 laps and then like led for, how many laps did he lead for?
He led to about
40,
48, 40,
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
Which is
There's about
insane.
6 laps to go.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on the harder compound tyre. He was on a completely different tyre strategy.
But his pace was.
But
his
the fact
pace
that
was
his
there.
pace was still faster than Hamilton and Vettel and was keeping him behind.
I think it also highlights, obviously, Verstappen's pace was great, but also that the Mercedes cannot follow cars to save their life.
Yeah.
That's
Like-
also true. Yeah.
I mean, I think Hamilton made like a move that would maybe he could
Yeah,
have
that
got
was a bit
past.
dodgy. That went
but-
into turn 2, wasn't it?
That they missed because they were showing Putin. And I think we had a question from someone.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
John Tallboy, do you agree the best moment of the race was the director cutting away from Hamilton attacking Verstappen to show a shot of Putin turning up? Yeah,
And not just Putin,
Bernie, bodyguard Bernie.
Bodyguard.
who
Looks
Tommy.
like, old Richard Hammond
does.
with a goatee.
He
if you
looks
look
like
at Bernie
old
now,
Richard Hammond.
he does.
Like
he
it's
he
him
would
in
play Richard Hammond in a
10
movie.
years.
Yeah.
What is he doing at the moment, Bernie?
Being Putin's bodyguard, apparently. He was there in sunglasses and a.
You never
suit.
see him in a suit, do you, Bernie? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a bit weird. He's trying to look dapper, but he looked like
Weird.
he just didn't have a shower.
Yeah.
Just popped a suit on.
Yeah,
It was a bit weird. Yeah, is he going to try and buy back the sport? Do you reckon? Is he
No,
is
he's
he
just-
lining
no, he's-
Liberty up
he's
for
done.
failure?
It's weird though. FOM love to cut away from the action to show
For
a
Putin.
celebrity or something.
Or Putin, yeah.
Yeah.
As if
Putin
the
in
people
crowd.
that were, as if like somebody who had just switched on F1 for the first time would have lasted that many laps and then stuck around for Vladimir Putin.
Putin.
What's the banter that you did about Putin? Wasn't it the Sorokin
Oh, the
being
fact that
last?
there was a picture of him just like sat on his own, looking really sad.
He was like,
Sorokin was last. Poor guy.
We'll get on to Sorokin when we talk about the predictions. Jess, you've got something obviously amazing to chat about that. But let's shout out Charles now. Another driver of the race. What a man. Qualifying, banged it out. Decent qualifying. I did love the fact that Crofty was very much giving Marcus Ericsson a massive round of applause for getting through Q2 when there was no one setting
Q2 session
times,
was a bit controversial,
odd. But quick point on that qualifying.
Awkward.
Weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was weird.
It was very odd to see no times on the board, and it did kind of shout at this end of the season where everyone's getting penalties, something needs to change.
Or something actually,
that
I wanted to mention about Max is he saved his engine at the end of that race. I think everyone was hoping for him to put on the hypersofts and just absolutely go balls to the wall like a 2012 era Pirelli where someone's going 4 seconds a lap quicker, and that would have been incredible to watch. But unfortunately, because of these engine rules, he
was like, we fourth.
Well, it's 5th or 4th or save your engine for Suzuka and Mexico, which he nearly won both last year. So it's a better chance to win.
It's a good point.
It was a shame. And just finally touching on Max, because obviously he had an awesome. That was not a slip of the tongue. He had an awesome race. I really think he had an awesome race. I'm really sorry. He did have an awesome race. Oh my god, I've literally set myself up for such a beating. Right. I think it was even though he was amazing, it was actually a shame that Ricciardo picked up damage, because you don't really get the sense of comparatively how good they are, because obviously Max flew and then Daniel was
no one really knew about his front wing damage either.
No, it was an afterthought. It was someone, I think, I was watching the Channel 4 coverage, so I think Karun just came on the radio as Bottas was pitting going, oh, and by the way, Ricciardo is complaining about front wing damage. And everyone's
they changed his...
I just thought you were slow.
Yeah, they changed his front wing on lap 45 or something.
So he'd gone for that long. But you could again, in the interviews, the post-race interviews, he was just a bit it wasn't
He's
really
done
great,
this,
He doesn't care.
But he still got to 6th.
Yeah.
But I mean, Max had him on the start.
I was going on the ropes. I don't know where you were going to go with that.
No, Max had him on the start.
He absolutely nailed him, didn't he? Where did Danny Rick get the damage? Do we know?
Near the start. I think it was the first or second lap.
There was debris. He drove through it.
Drove straight through it.
We actually moved on from Charles, which is terrible. Let's go back to Charles real quick. That move, turn 3. Goodness gracious me! I was there. I was like,
and on Magnussen, who could have just put him in the wall.
He could have.
Well, I think the factors of that move is, one, it's round the outside of a really difficult place to pass. He's in a Sauber, so the pace advantage isn't that much on a Haas, and the kind of skill level triples of doing it on Magnussen, who is probably going to put you in the wall if you make any kind of mistake. That move was absolutely unreal.
Incredible, wasn't it? Absolutely.
One of the best moves in the last 5 years.
Wow, okay.
Whoa,
big
genuinely can't think of a better move
since. Charles fanboy.
Yeah. I genuinely got up and was like, oh my god, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was astonishing. And then after that, he checked out. He was gone.
It's kind of a boring race.
Maybe he put all of his energy into that move, and then it was right, I'm here, that's fine.
Yeah, see ya.
But he finished best of the rest.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, where were the Renaults this race? My god, where were they?
Nowhere.
Well,
getting lapped by Verstappen and wondering how.
They had awful qualifying, obviously, where it didn't work out for them at all. And then Sainz ended up... Where did Sainz end up? P12?
Last. He had floor damage. He was dead last.
That was it, yeah.
Where did Hulk finish?
He was near the back.
Because he was running in P7 at one point, but then that was when he hadn't pitted or something and been going for ages. But
Danny Rick's
where am I going?
And they did a dual post-race interview, which I found strange. They were both together. And they were just just pace wasn't there this weekend. And it is a bit oh god, Ricciardo.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Oh, fingers crossed they sort themselves out, because we're big Danny Rick fans, aren't we?
We
so
want to see
don't
more
want to see him
teams up there.
Go to the back of the grid, back to his Minardi days, and
no.
that'd be dreadful. driver of the day. So obviously we've spoken about some very amazing people just now. Verstappen and Charles being two of them. Who would be your driver of the day, Jess? Lewis Hamilton.
No, I'm probably going to be boring and say Verstappen. I think it was even though it was only P5, which is what was predicted, and so in that sense, of the world, it wasn't anything remarkable.
But he led most of the race, didn't he?
I think that's it. He led most of the race, and he got to P5 within 5 laps, which is.
I think it was 8 laps. I think it was 8 laps, just to clarify before everyone goes.
Oh, 8 laps. Sorry,
yeah, fine.
8 laps.
It's fine.
Before on a track where overtaking isn't meant to be. Great.
Yeah, he just flew. I just remember looking at that. I was like, he's 9th. What? How has this happened?
It's mad.
And it's weird. I find, I don't know, because you're a Max Verstappen fan, you probably analyse his performances more than I do, but I feel like whenever he's down the grid, that's when he performs the best, because he feels less pressure. Like I feel like he makes less mistakes when he has absolutely no expectations.
It looks like he's having fun too.
Yeah. He just sets the AI to easy and then off he goes.
He was ridiculous that race. Yeah, it was good.
So your driver of the day?
Yeah. Charles just misses out, I'd say.
Okay, he doesn't for me. Charles, definitely my driver of the day. Purely for that move. Purely for that turn. I mean, any kind of reason to give Charles driver of the day. Now, obviously Max was amazing and fantastic, but I'd like to have seen a comparison between him and Ricciardo, an actual direct comparison without the damage. So, without getting a clean sweep. If we had 2 people to choose, it'd be Verstappen and Charles. But I think Charles, that move was unreal, and then that just set up the rest of his race to get best of the rest. So,
and the fact that Ocon couldn't get past Magnussen as well showed how difficult it was.
Yeah.
So
and then it also showed with Ericsson being in 27th place and about a minute off the pace. So I can't wait for next year. I literally just end this season now, please. Like I genuinely cannot wait for next year.
How do you think he's going to fare against Raikkonen?
I was about to say
Raikkonen.
Vettel.
No, sorry, Vettel.
Vettel.
What?
Who's wait.
I was like, what year is it?
I think he won't be great at the first part of the season.
Do you not?
No.
I think he's going to win the World Championship.
All right. Wow.
There you go,
I think he'll take a few races just like he did this year against Ericsson. He was kind of getting outperformed the first few races, getting used to Formula 1. I think, again, it'll take a couple of races.
He's going to win.
He'll take half a race. Okay,
he'll win in one of his first 4 races.
He'll take FP1 to get used to it. No, I think he'll take a few races to match Vettel, and then he'll be there. But anyway, predictions for Sochi. We had Jess's predictions. Do you remember them? Remember one of them.
I don't remember one of them.
Which was an unbelievable prediction.
Well...
Come on.
It's a technicality. It's
Yeah.
probably like
happened?
a half-truth.
Wait, why?
So I said the Kvyat stand will be
replaced. And it wasn't, it was added.
It wasn't. It was added.
Was Kvyat still there?
Yes.
Kvyat was still there. I couldn't believe
it
that.
was. It's still there.
Because I was watching the Charles move and you could see his face in the corner.
Yeah.
Watching on...
And obviously, it's kind of like that looming thing because he's like, hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Which I cannot believe.
His career.
I think it just goes to show what turmoil the whole Red Bull driver program is in. The fact that, I mean, Helmut Marko's come out and said
the fact that they've got
matured.
to keep Hartley.
They've got to keep Hartley, and they've brought Kvyat back, of all people.
Ali intense staring.
But also, I saw an interesting point that was it shows why it's good not to burn bridges, because Kvyat could have quite easily stuck 2 fingers up to Marko and said, bugger off.
Yeah.
In the nicest, politest way. And instead, he's got back.
Is there anybody else that's been able to come back like that? Have been demoted and then given a second chance? Well, I mean, this is technically his 3rd chance?
Yeah. Yeah, so dramatically demoted down the grid. Not really, I guess.
I think it just shows that he didn't go kicking and screaming. He didn't come out with massive sort of news press releases saying this guy's this guy's that. He did take it with as much grace as one human can expect, and he's got another chance. So for him, I think it's worked out.
I thought it was funny that Marko was singing his praises, saying he's a much more mature and better driver now. It's like by not driving.
Yeah, he's going to torpedo
obviously
someone.
He has been with Ferrari. And he's been testing and developing with Ferrari.
Playing the PlayStation game. Yeah. Great.
But what I'm saying is, it's not like he completely removed himself from F1.
Yeah.
He was, and to be honest, maybe going away to a different team, like Ferrari, which is probably the polar opposite of Red Bull. Maybe that did mature him up.
Absolute banter if he torpedoes Vettel at Melbourne.
Please.
First
Oh my
race
God,
next
please
year.
happen.
Please.
As long as it's not
I mean,
sharp.
what are you saying? A Toro Rosso is going to be up there
Anywhere
with a
near-
Ferrari?
Well, their
It just
brakes
won't
did
break.
fail in there.
That's a very good point. So okay, we'll give you half a point then
Okay, so half a
for
point for
that
that,
one, and
and
the other
then-
one was Bottas will win the race again.
So another half point.
No, that's a 0 point. Well, yeah,
Technically, he won.
yeah, technically he should have won.
So 2 technicalities.
2 technicalities.
Okay.
Whatever that means in points. Okay, Tommy, you said Sorokin will get points and do donuts while waving a Russian flag.
So
I mean,
close.
you could have just gone for points and that wouldn't have happened, but you went for donuts and Russian flag, which I guess would have happened had he scored points.
He was pretty close. He was 18th. So
Only 8 points
18
off.
18
points?
of
Eight
18.
places.
yeah.
And then Ferrari will. This one was kind of
Oh.
true. Ferrari will leave Kimi out on his tyres so long he'll have to ask when he's allowed to pit.
So I was watching the race, and you know how he was the one last to pit,
Yeah.
and he stayed out for another 4 or 5 laps, I think it was, and the team radio icon popped up, and I was like, "It's happening!" And then it was just like, "Come in, Kimi." I was like, "Oh."
You were like,
So
I was waiting
well,
for the.
they did
yeah.
leave him out for a ridiculously
Oh,
long time.
but
I mean,
half
where
Half
was
a
he?
point.
Half point. I say a half point.
yeah, all right, fair enough.
But where was he this race?
They just forgot about it. I'm pretty sure they just forgot.
I think everyone forgot about him.
Yeah.
I was
He's
like,
just
oh yeah, Raikkonen races.
There's no Red Bulls. Can we just stay out for as long as you want? Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to get third, are you? I mean, come on. We're not going to let you.
You could
attack Vettel.
walk the rest of the race. You would still finish fourth.
Oh, I can't wait for him to go into Sauber where he can do what he wants.
What were yours, Matty?
Mine were track extending will be a problem, which in
Kinda,
F1
yeah. It was a bad.
was bad
in
in
GP3 and F2.
and F2,
big
wasn't it?
time, yeah.
with just corner cutting and just getting positions at the
Yeah.
start of the race. So half a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all getting half points.
And
We're
well,
being very
actually,
generous to ourselves.
yeah. And this one I don't have to be generous, although we kind of actually were kind of generous when watching the replay. More than 3 cars will cut the second corner, as the first is the slight kink. So obviously, yeah, the big.
We counted
Braking zone.
3 though.
We did count 3.
More than 3? Half a point.
Damn it! I
You
meant to
should've
say
said
3 or more.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, half
Damn
a point. Okay, and then the fan predictions were Callum Moore 12, a world championless podium. Absolutely
Nope.
not.
I love though when we were trying to work it out, you were like, well, maybe they thought Raikkonen, and I was like, pretty sure he's a world
Sorry,
champion. Last
Kimi
time I
fans.
checked.
Gee, you forgot Kimi won the
I
championship.
mean, easily done.
Jess was like, he stole it from Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton won that.
S666 Key. Kvyat announced as an STR driver for next year.
Yep.
Correct. That's a full point.
That's a full point.
Whoa.
Yeah, congratulations. And Matty Mook91, it'll actually be an eventful race, which is not exactly tangible, is it?
Technicality, it was.
Yeah.
It was eventful.
It's a
was
point.
damn
Team orders,
eventful.
it was eventful.
Yeah.
And I just want to, before we get on to our predictions for Japan, shout out to the random US Uber driver, which we saw on social media,
Oh, God.
listening to our podcast. Who was he transporting?
He was transporting a Mexican F1 journalist and presenter, I believe.
Okay. Shout out to that Uber driver. I don't know if that was
In
just
Austin.
a one-off or,
Yeah.
but that was
If you're listening
fantastic.
now-
You are a legend, and just let us know your Uber code.
Let's stop.
So
if
we
you've
can-
made it past 40
can-
minutes of pigeon chat and you're still here, hello.
Drop us a message and we'll grab a taxi with you when we're next in America. Cool. All right, so predictions for Japan. My 2 predictions are Verstappen will finish on the podium and there will be at least 2 safety cars.
Okay.
I think that's obviously looking at Verstappen, and it's quite an aerodynamic track. Japan,
He was good
hopefully.
last year, nearly won, so...
Yeah, and I'm hoping, that, well, I'm not hoping, well, I kind of hoping for my predictions that he'll be up there, and 2 safety cars with the fact that it's probably going to rain, which leads us quite nicely on to your 2, Jess.
It's gonna rain
It's gone rain.
It's
the
gonna
whole
rain.
time.
It's
The
gonna
whole
be
time.
bad. It's
The
going to be a
whole time.
typhoon, isn't
Who's
it?
gonna measure this? So we're gonna have someone on the ground, and it stops. No, sorry, Jess.
Okay, for every session,
Okay, every session
including quali and race, it will rain.
at
So
some
it's going to
point.
be a full, yeah.
Okay.
At some point, let's go
Gotcha,
with that one.
right.
Then I'm hedging my
yeah,
bets.
yeah.
And
Nice.
obviously, betting's coming into F1, so you need to hedge your bets,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Gamble
and
responsibly.
My
Or not at
second
all.
one is a bit of a touchy one, but I think just because it is Suzuka, I think there are going to be Leclerc and Jules Bianchi comparisons in terms of talking about could Bianchi be where Leclerc is going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who will make
had
this comparison?
Anyone.
Just anyone
There'll probably
Could
be
even be me.
There'll probably
On Twitter.
half a point.
No, I think on the
Just
on TV coverage at some
Okay.
point.
Yeah,
Alright.
they'll probably do a feature on it, won't they, or something?
Yeah, and it's just
It's
so
sad.
tough.
Yeah.
I just remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's horrible, horrible incident.
Bad.
But anyway, lighter things. Tommy's predictions.
Tommy!
Yeah, so I'm going to have Gasly as finishing best of the rest in
And
seventh.
not Hartley. Where will Hartley finish, Tommy, as an extra half a bonus
I
point?
reckon he
DNF.
might get a point.
Do you?
I think Torosso are going to be strong.
Don't you nod away in the corner over there.
They've got a new engine coming.
They have, Ali knows.
I bet they have new brakes as well.
I love how Ali doesn't keep up with anything else, but he knows they've got a new
He knows the
engine
upgrades
coming.
for the Toro Rosso team.
Only for Hartley though.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but they got an engine coming.
How many engineers in his garage have you befriended on Instagram so you can get the inside?
that's all.
None.
Not yet.
I
Not
find
yet.
that strange.
I'm friends with Brendan.
Yeah, he's directly friends with Brendan from that one meeting you had. And Tommy, what was your final prediction?
This will be a bit harsh on all the McLaren fans, but I think McLaren are going to do worse than they did with Honda engines last year, which will be
Which was 11th and
bitter pill
14th.
to swallow.
That would be
after-
banter.
Yeah, but
And
they
it's
finished
likely.
11th and 14th, which they
It's-
take that now.
They'd be like, great result.
Yeah.
Just off the points.
I was actually looking at the positions that they were in at the end of last year with Honda, and Alonso was got in the top 10, and now
For-
they're for Suzuka last year, and now in qualifying.
I was going to say
in qualifying, and he's 11th. And he's got in the top 10. I know maths.
I was like, Tommy, you're having a brain fart here.
Yeah.
That would be,
Yeah.
I'd see that prediction coming true. So
yeah, they're
that's
not in a good having a good time,
state,
are they?
It was quite funny, wasn't it? What was Alonso saying? Like,
Oh yeah, there was a team radio from him apparently where someone, his team engineer said some midfield driver is catching us, and Alonso said something along the lines of, "I'm 14th, I don't care, mate."
fair.
He's checked out. He's
yeah,
gone.
He's
we
already
were,
an
we were
IndyCar.
saying like I almost
Don't
just
you-
want him to just
I
like.
don't want him in F1.
Just give
love.
Lando Norris the last couple of races to get used to the car before he goes
It's
into it.
sad. Like you don't even know. I don't even feel like Alonso's in F1
Yeah.
now. He's so anonymous, and it's so rubbish that a legend's gonna retire, and you probably won't hit anything about it until Abu Dhabi when they go, "Oh yeah, Alonso's retiring." Now we'll have a
No,
celebration.
there'll be a big pomp and ceremony. Like I know, Massa
No,
and
as in
Brazil
when
and
once
everything,
like like in Abu Dhabi, they won't talk about it until then. Probably
but I don't know. I always feel like in the closing stages they tend to do a bit more.
he'll have a deck chair moment in Interlagos
yeah.
again. And,
100%.
yeah.
Absolutely, they'll cash in on that. So our fans' predictions were Lou Scorpio 68 Honda with double point scoring at home. So going against what you were saying,
I said Harley might get a point.
Honda. Oh God, yeah, McLaren aren't with Honda.
Toro Rosso.
I'm going
Brain
back
fart.
in time. Yeah, thanks. Papa Mr. F1. Someone will lose it at 130R. Highly likely, although they're very, very downforcey
Grosjean.
at the moment. So, Grosjean, yeah. And Levicious X. It'll rain like crazy again, and the teams will all make and race mini boats like last year.
Which
That's
kinda
the dream.
links on to mine.
Yeah, they love a mini boat race.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best part of the season, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
That would be a highlight. So we spoke a little bit about qualifying and how it can change, and we didn't actually touch on what it could change to, Tommy, which you've got some news for me.
Yes.
This just in.
Next year they're thinking about scrapping qualifying and having a mini
Yes,
boat.
I know it's 1 minute to go, Ali. That's why I'm on the last point. Carry on, Tommy.
They're going to have a mini boat race instead of qualifying next year to decide the grid
And the championship.
and the championship.
Oh,
You nearly lost it.
I just got like flashbacks to Radion actually. Just like, so Tommy.
Sorry, yeah, no. Actually, what they're going to do is
Potentially.
have, potentially is have 4 sessions, because we all love the 3 sessions and definitely
3 sessions
don't
is long
just
enough.
sit on our phones during sessions 1 and 2. We definitely don't do that.
Till the last few minutes. Then
yeah.
you're like, oh, okay.
They thought, let's add 1 more because it's so fun.
But
And-
I'm guessing that means that like fewer people get eliminated
So
each
the
round.
Q4 will be 8 cars.
What's the point? So it would be, what, 4, and...
So it'll
It would
be
it
Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, and then you've got 2 places, so everyone will just save their tyres. So
Yeah.
7th and 8th won't bother qualifying
Oh
because
my goodness
I mean, if
me.
it was a shootout for like top 2, sign me up. Like
Yeah.
that would be cool.
1 lap
10 qualifying
one lap
sessions.
qualifying.
No. Why does it have to go up in even numbers? Like, why does each session have to be an equal amount of cars getting eliminated? Why don't you have like a mega elimination in like round 1 and just get half the slow
Just
pokes
get
off?
the
Just get them off the track.
Go home.
Why did you even turn up? Like, I mean, go do your Division 1 crap and let's leave the Premiership out on track. Right? I'm joking.
Got all up. Sorry, teams.
Sorry, Hartley.
But like, if you had like a shootout between the top 2, I would 100%
That would be awesome.
would
like
watch
a
that.
one-lap shootout.
They need
Yeah.
They need to bring back one lap qualifying.
You get
what is it?
one lap qualifying.
One lap qualifying would be absolutely
What
awesome.
about the one that we had last year? Was it last year or the year before?
Oh, elimination
Elimination
qualifying. That was
Yes.
horrific.
Oh,
But
that
this,
was amazing.
This shows, like, stop messing
But
about with
even
the
elimination qualifying had more drama than 4 qualifying sessions. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want elimination qualifying, but
No.
I would love, like as you say, like just a, one-on-one, even like a race. Like they're both on the grid, and they have to race for pole. Like
Maybe
that
they
would
have to
be
do it
awesome.
like a standing start.
Yeah.
And they have to do a mini race. Like, why don't they do like?
But
I mean, I'm
this-
not a fan of like races on a Saturday and a Sunday.
Running races.
But
Mini
one
boat race.
one for pole position would be sick.
That would be awesome.
Although you would maybe run the risk of them damaging each other. Like I
Good.
could, like,
Well, they do,
would
they
just
start
they
the
do
back of the grid.
qualifying races in like GT racing and
That's
stuff,
true.
and it works. What me and Dan Wright were saying is, if you're going to change it dramatically. That's not going to do anything. It's going to be rubbish.
That's what. Where are they getting this information from? Like,
And
where
what
are
do they think
getting,
it's going to do?
What? Yeah. What? When they sit there and they go?
Jess is hitting the mic. She's getting. Ali's there like, oh god.
Editing.
Have fun with that. Hopefully, I've not knocked my
Cable
Can you
out.
Sorry,
hear
what,
me?
Jess? Sorry.
No, like, where do they get that information? Like, when they sit down and go, right, we need more excitement. Let's put in more
But,
sessions.
yeah.
Like, how? Where is the logic?
No, there's no
And
logic.
Ask us.
yeah, they think. Do they
Yeah.
think
We
that
want-
it's going to be a reverse grid
Yeah.
because they add one extra session? No. Like Mercedes and Ferrari will still be first in every session and finish in the top 4 places. What is adding an extra session
They
going to do?
probably- Maybe. Okay, here we go, spitballing now. And really sorry, Ali, we're way over time, but I don't care. Right,
my
you
favourite.
can't have two drivers from the same team in that 2-driver shootout. It has to be.
That would be great.
It has to be 2 different teams in the shootout. So the best driver from team 1 and the best driver from team 2.
Yeah.
So in this era, it would be Hamilton and Vettel.
Yeah.
Because you know how we all want to see like on-track action between the two, but sometimes in races you don't get it. That's how you inject it.
That would give Van Dorn some
FIA,
incentive
call me
to
up. Like, I've got all these
out-qualify
ideas,
Alonso,
you know?
wouldn't it?
But
If
like,
he got
I genuinely, I'd be interested to what other people think as well. Like,
That'd
how could we spice up qualifying?
think of the
because it's
inter-team
dull?
battle if that happened.
Would be
Then,
sick.
Like, think how hard like Bottas would have to go in Q1 to beat Hamilton, because if not, he's 10th at best.
That would be
Whatever.
lit.
That would be incredible.
Although the top teams would never agree
Oh,
to that,
no,
which
they
is
wouldn't.
unfortunate. But
They
that
don't
would be
have
an
a choice.
amazing. Huh?
They don't have a choice.
They have no,
This is
Jess
how it
has
is now.
decided. This is it.
Whoa.
You've signed up to this. Yeah, cool. I mean, let us know in the comment
Jess
section
is the
below
new
what
Bernie.
you guys think, because that is that.
Gonna rock
I'd
up in a goatee and sunglasses on, looking like Richard Hammond.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear everyone's opinions and ideas as well, because hopefully everyone will just read the comment section and get a better idea than four sessions in qualifying, because I will not watch that. I will tune in for Q3 if that happens, which I pretty much do anyway. So anyway, cool, brilliant. That's it. Any final words, Tommy?
Oh, I realised I was going to write something random for you to read out,
Oh.
and then just go, "Ha, you read it out again," but I forgot.
Okay.
So there you
Jess, anything else to add that wasn't what Tommy just said?
No.
Okay, perfect. Alistair's pointing at the camera I need to outro to, so thank you so much for watching this Russian Grand Prix / Team Orders podcast. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, and we'll be back in 1 week's time
Woohoo.
for the Japanese Grand Prix.
go. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.